VinFuture Prize, a new global science and technology prize for humanity from Vietnam. One VinFuture grand prize of $3 million. 3 additional special VinFuture prizes valued at $500,000 each. VinFuture Prize honors science and technology work that creates or has a high potential to create meaningful change in the everyday lives of millions of people. Join us to make a change for a better future.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and our beloved scientists. Welcome to the second information webinar of the 2022 VinFuture Prize. I'm Ming Yang, and I'm the Communications Secretary of the VinFuture Prize. It's my honor today to be moderator of this webinar. Established in December 2020, VinFuture Prize is the new global science and technology prize originating from Vietnam. And for this year, for this second season, we have the call for nomination since the last February 16. And since then, we are so grateful that we have a lot of people, a lot of nominators that have accepted to be our official nominator for the second season. To date, the latest update figure of accepted nominators has exceeded 1,500. And I think this is the good motivation for all nominators to start your submission as soon as possible and invest your time and also your effort to nominate for the deserving innovation. You know the value of your nomination submission today. It's the change, the positive change for our better life for all tomorrow. And in the second webinar today, I would like to introduce to you the panelists from the VinFuture Foundation. Please welcome Dr. Padmanabhan Anandan, founder of the US-based AI Matters Advisors, LLC, member of the Prize Council. He's also the chair of today's webinar. Thank you for your presence. Let us welcome Dr. Suy Dong David Huang, Chief Technology Officer from Microsoft, also a member of the Prize Council, co-chair of today's webinar. Welcome, Dr. Suy Dong Huang. Please welcome Professor Anta Shut, Principal Theme Lead of Cardiac, Vascular and Metabolic Medicine in the Faculty of Medicine and Health of the University of New South Wales, Sydney, Australia, member of the Prescreening Committee, co-chair of today's webinar. Thank you for being with us today. And from the VinFuture Foundation, we would love to introduce to you our Vice Chairwoman of the VinFuture Foundation, Dr. Lê Mai Lan. Last but not least, my dear colleague at the Prize Secretariat, who are great supporters for all nominators for your submission process, Dr. Ming Yang, Dr. Việt Bắc, and Dr. Thanh Hiền. And the agenda of today's session will include the sharing session from Dr. Lê Mai Lan, our Vice Chairwoman of the VinFuture Foundation, the sharing with the panelists about the pre-screening and also the selection process. Next will be an introduction about the VinFuture Prize by Dr. Anandan, the chair of today's webinar. And then Dr. Ming Yang will walk you through the nomination form so you will know what's the most important part to focus on. Then we would like to open up for a Q&A session. For now, please welcome Dr. Lê Mai Lan, our Vice Chairwoman of the VinFuture Foundation, to start the session today with the introduction about our country, Vietnam, our founders, and also the VinFuture Foundation. Please, Dr. Lê Mai Lan.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lê Mai Lan. I'm the Vice Chairwoman of Vingroup and the Vice President of VinFuture Foundation. I would like to thank you all for spending your precious time with us today, and I hope that you will find this session informative and valuable. I'm going to share with you about our country, Vietnam, then the founders, and finally about the VinFuture Foundation. First, about Vietnam. Vietnam is located in Southeast Asia, and we have a population of 96.2 million. Our people are very friendly and welcoming, and we work hard and we are very eager to learn. The entire country is dynamic and transformative. Recently, we have been recognized as the new tiger economy in Asia. So it is a beautiful and a full of potential country. And we are honored to welcome you to come to visit Vietnam, in particular when we celebrate the second prize award in January 2023. Second, I would like to share about the founders, Mr. Phạm Nhật Vượng and his wife, Madame Phạm Thu Hương. So Mr. Bullock was born in 1968. After graduating from university in Russia, he started his first business, and this later turned into VinGroup. In 2013, he has named by Forbes as a self-made billionaire and become successful with his own effort and hard work. Mr. Bullock is a visionary and pioneering leader who has great passions to do things which can contribute for better life of people. And in Vietnam, he is a very, very respected person due to his philanthropy for social development in society. In 2020, he was honored as the Forbes Heroes of the Philanthropy in the Asia-Pacific region for his significant contribution to the human fight against COVID-19. So I would like to say one thing about his saying. I think it's really reflect his this ideology. He says that I don't care how much money I make, but I want to build things that make life beautiful. That is important statement, and it also reflects in everything we did at VinFuture and also VinGroup. So the second founder is Madame Phạm Thu Hương. She is the Mr. Bullock's wife, and she is also outstanding vice president of VinGroup. She graduated from Kyiv National University in Ukraine with a master's degree in international law. And she has accompanied Mr. Bullock since the early days of starting business in Ukraine. And always she has to be one of the senior leaders of VinGroup. And so I would like to share about VinGroup. So VinGroup is actually the Vietnam largest private corporation, and we're focusing on the three core pillars: industry, services, and social philanthropy. We are also the largest private taxpayer in Vietnam. And one of the things I want to share with you is our principle of doing business. It's kind of three. First of all, we only do things that create value for people. And second, we only do new things. We try to do new ways with existing things. And the third thing is we only do things which we can be the best in the class. So if we really have the ability to do good and fast and being the largest market leader. So with this kind of principle, you can see that if we don't do ordinary things, we also don't do things which make money but don't create value for people. And if we feel that some other people can do better than us, then we might withdraw the market and let other people do. So based on this principle, you can see that we are the pioneer and largest player in whichever the market we operate, from real estate, hospitality, healthcare, education to mobility. And I also want to share with you a good news. Yesterday, our mobility brand VinFast just announced that it will build an electric vehicle and battery manufacturing facility in North Carolina in the US. We invest $4 billion and create more than 7,000 jobs. And I guess that is a really good news. And the President Biden also tweeted this news in his own, Twitter account yesterday. Yeah. But maybe it's very important to all of us researchers and innovators to hear more about the philanthropy activities of VinGroup. We are very active in promoting education, healthcare, and people development since the day we established. So in 2022, our Kind Heart Foundation donates more than 400 million to fight against COVID-19 and other. We also do other charitable activities. And then in terms of higher education, we invest in Vin University. This is the country's first and only not-for-profit university with a mission of develop the talents for the future. And we also invest in the science and technology scholarship program for master and PhD students in Vietnam. So thousands of people, of students can have opportunities to study in the world leading universities such as Harvard, MIT, New South Wales, Cornell, Johns Hopkins, CMU, etc. And in terms of K-12, we operate the not-for-profit K-12 education system, which is called VinSchool. And this is the largest K-12 system in the country with more than 36,000 students and 40 schools. For healthcare, we established the VinMake, and that is the largest private healthcare system in Vietnam with 10 hospitals, and which can serve 600,000 patients visit a year. Now we would like to share with you about the mission of the VinFuture Foundation and the key activities that involves. So in December 2020, the VinFuture Foundation is set up as an independent not-for-profit foundation with an initial endowment of $100 million. And our mission is to build a future where breakthrough scientific research and technological innovations empower people, positively enhance their lives, and create a more equitable and sustainable world for future generations. So I would like to talk about our activities. Actually, we have 5 main activities. The first is, of course, the annual VinFuture Prize, whereby we award the breakthrough scientific research and technological innovations that have a high potential or already have the potential to create meaningful changes in the lives of people. And second, we do grant making. Third, we do communication. In particular, we promote the STEM and innovation-based curricula in the education system. And finally, we work on long-term partnership with the prestigious institutes in science, technology, and industry for promoting the prize. So last but not least, I want to say and share the focus of this year is the reshaping and rebuilding a better life after the pandemic. And we want to focus on diversity and quality. We want to see more diversification in terms of nominators, in terms of research fields, in terms of the areas of impact. So with all the short introduction, I hope that you can find a fundamental but important information for you to start nominating the nominees. And I would like to again thank you for your listening and thank you for your time today. And I wish you all the best and have a nice day ahead. A lot of success in your career. And please don't forget to nominate the best nominations for the prize. Now I would like to direct your attention to a very short video on the award ceremony last year so that you can get to know a little bit more about us. Thank you.
Thế giới đổ dồn sự chú ý về Việt Nam khi lần đầu tiên nơi đây hội tụ những trí tuệ hàng đầu thế giới. Khi lần đầu tiên một giải thưởng toàn cầu được khởi xướng và tổ chức tại Việt Nam. 1.134 đối tác đề cử từ 71 quốc gia ở 6 châu lục. 599 đề cử được gửi đến. Trong đó, 100 đề cử thuộc top 2% các nhà khoa học được trích dẫn nhiều nhất thế giới. 43 dự án xuất sắc, vinh danh 4 công trình kiệt xuất, đột phá, tiên phong, có tác động tích cực lên cuộc sống của hàng tỷ người trên trái đất. Lễ trao giải VinFuture đã trở thành sự kiện tâm điểm của giới khoa học toàn cầu và Việt Nam. Với hơn 3.000 tin bài trong nước và quốc tế, 1,6 triệu lượt xem trực tiếp và trực tuyến. Sự kiện lễ trao giải VinFuture đã góp phần nâng tầm vị thế đất nước Việt Nam trên bản đồ khoa học và công nghệ toàn cầu, kết nối cộng đồng khoa học công nghệ trong nước với các nhà khoa học hàng đầu thế giới. Những khoảnh khắc dâng trào của cảm xúc, đó là ấn tượng của sự chỉn chu đến từ sự đón tiếp nồng hậu mà trọng thị. Đó là sự hoàn mỹ của một sân khấu đẳng cấp và tinh tế. Đó là sự thăng hoa khi hội tụ tài năng hàng đầu quốc tế, nghệ sĩ John Legend huyền thoại của thế giới, tiếng đàn của thiên tài piano Đặng Thái Sơn cùng một Việt Nam mê hồn với áo dài, nón lá của nghệ sĩ ưu tú Linh Nga. Và đó là khoảnh khắc vỡ òa hạnh phúc của người được vinh danh chiến thắng. Với mỗi người Việt Nam, VinFuture còn là sự tự hào kiêu hãnh của dòng máu Việt. Khi lá cờ tung bay trong tiếng nhạc quốc ca, khi những biểu tượng văn hóa Việt, trống đồng, hoa sen được tôn vinh, khi kỷ niệm chương VinFuture được sản xuất hoàn toàn thủ công mạ vàng bởi nghệ nhân người Việt với hình tượng chữ V đầy ý nghĩa, và khi bằng khen của các nhà khoa học chiến thắng được sử dụng chất liệu giấy gió truyền thống như một lần nữa khẳng định những niềm tự hào chân quý của người Việt gửi tới bạn bè quốc tế. Nơi khoa học kiệt xuất gặp gỡ nghệ thuật đỉnh cao, nơi kết nối trí tuệ, trái tim và niềm tin của con người trên toàn thế giới, nơi người Việt Nam tự hào tôn vinh với những giá trị bản sắc văn hóa Việt với bạn bè quốc tế và liên tục vươn tới những đỉnh cao.
Ladies and gentlemen, our beloved scientists, I hope that after watching this video, you are now more interested in the foundation and the prize. And after watching this video, I really want us to know more about the foundation, the prize. And that's why I would like to move to the next part of our webinar today, the sharing with the panelists. The first question I would like to ask one member of our panelists, Dr. Sui Dong Huang. Our vice chairwoman has just said that at Vingroup and at the VinFuture Foundation, we want to create value. So we really care about the value each people can create for our VinFuture Foundation, and also the prize to bring the mission of our foundation, science for humanity, and especially for the nominators. How do you think about the importance of nominators during the nomination process?
Well, I think it's very important. The nominator got the responsibility to really provide the detailed information about the nominee. And it's actually a daunting task to really provide the comprehensive data and achievements. So the committee can do actually a decent job based on the information provided by the nominator. So it's, you know, the VinFuture Prize, I feel, is great for the humanity. It's just such a good goal to make life more beautiful. So I hope that you can get the help from all nominators to do good homework, provide the comprehensive information, so the committee can do a better job to actually judge the merits of all the people being nominated. It's a very, very intensive work. So I really think that the task of nominator will determine the final decision, very much like you know, any committee, the application package matters. So that's the task of the nominator.
Yeah, I have to say that the nominators can be recognized as like one of the most important factors to create the quality nominations, right, for our prize every year. And about nominators, I really want to have another question for another member of our panelists today, Professor Anta Shut. She is the member of our pre-screening committee. And I want to ask about the pre-screening process. What should nominators invest in when preparing for the nomination to make it really stand out? This question for Professor Anta Shut, please.
Yes, thank you. I think as part of the pre-screening committee, our task is really to work through each and every application that was submitted and make sure that the quality and all the necessary documentation are ready to review. So as was just said, if the application is really very specific, detailing the true value of the nominee in terms of the impact, as this prize is often focusing on impact, highlighting that very clearly, having more than one letter of support is often helpful to really give the breadth and depth of the application in as much detail as possible. I think that would make a substantial difference in really getting the committee to understand the contribution of that specific candidate. We have, as I said, we have sifted through so many, and often felt that if the nominator just went through a bit more time and put more effort in really outlining it really well, it would give a deserving candidate a much better chance to be seen and to stand out. So often we had to go and do our own research on the contributions of that person. So the nominations will increase even more, I would understand, and therefore to make it really stand out is to highlight those specific impacts and to give as much detail as possible in terms of the contributions.
Yeah, I believe that all nominators will believe in the quality of their nominations, but there will be some tips or some ways, some more important part that we should focus in that maybe our panelists and our secretariat will share with you in the later part in the Q&A session. But for now, we really care about the quality of nomination, but we also care about the feeling of nominators when having the nomination process. So another question I would like to ask Dr. Anandan, what would you tell nominators when they are worried about the continuous increasing number of nomination submission? And can you clarify the chance for every scientist with the VinFuture prize?
Yeah, it's a very, when you come into something like this where there are increasing number of nominees, always it can be a little bit daunting. Should I even bother to try? But I always say to my children and my students who ask me, should I compete in a prize competition given my work? It's not like a lottery. It doesn't make a difference how many there are. If you are the best, you're the best. It doesn't matter whether 100 nominations or 1,000 nominations. If you were, the work is the best, it's going to be the best. So I think, when you nominate, make sure that you have the conviction that, in fact, the work that is being nominated is really at the top of its field, and the nominees are qualified and the impact is really good. And then it does not matter how many nominations come, and you should go for it.
Yeah, I would like to also add, we update the figure every day, every week for you, the nominators, not for you to feel worried, but for you to know that our prize is we deserve your participation, and we deserve your nomination, and we deserve the best nominations to have the most quality prize for the second season of the VinFuture prize. I hope so. I hope that you understand, and you will invest more in the nomination process for your nominees. And now I would like to invite you, Dr. Anandan, to give a brief introduction, to give more information about the VinFuture prize. Please, Dr. Anandan.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm going to share my screen, which has a presentation. I hope you can all see this. Yeah, so I know you will have a lot of questions about this. First of all, I want to thank the VinFuture Prize Foundation for giving me and my colleagues the opportunity to be a part of this really amazing process and this amazing prize. And from what we saw last year in the process, and when I attended the ceremony, this is really a great start. And I think it'll have a fantastic future and will become one of the most important prizes in the world. And as you might already know, but just to recap, the grand prize is valued at $3 million, and it's broadly for any discipline and any sort of domain. And it doesn't have to be, it can be multidisciplinary, it need not be a single discipline. And it's really for technological innovations, can be in computing, healthcare, physics, chemistry, whatever, biology, that really has made an impact on people's lives. In addition to the grand prize, there are 3 prizes which are each valued about $500,000 each. And one of them is really to recognize female innovators, regardless from what country, what part of the world they are, or what discipline they are working in. An invention, an innovation by a female innovator would be recognized. Another one is actually trying to pay attention specifically to countries that are developing countries that typically tend not to have enough representation in these top prizes, and to give a certain amount of encouragement and to stimulate the growth there. And last but not least, there are many fields that emerge, and often it takes time for them to get established and their impact to be valued. So one of the things that VinFuture Prize is really doing, which is rather unique, is actually looking at fields that are new and that are emerging. And I'll mention this, when we look at the prize winners of the last time and point out some of these things as well. And so what is different about it? It's the first prize from Vietnam. I don't believe anything like this has been done in Vietnam, and Vietnam has really rapidly grown as an economic power. And as one of the speakers mentioned, it's one of the tiger economies of Asia. And in the last 40 to 50 years, it's really risen up to the top. And this is a prize, and it's about time. I think it's really great to see that happen. The second is that it's not limited to any particular discipline. It can be anything, the science and technology, that can actually change people's lives. And in that sense, it's actually quite a unique thing. Often prizes tend to be for a particular discipline. And more important perhaps is to mention is that it's one of the few prizes which is not simply about the great scientific innovation or breakthrough, but how it's impacted people's life and how it's changing people's life. And this is something where it stands out quite uniquely. And for that reason, it also focuses a lot on the UN Sustainable Development Goals as a way of measuring what would be impactful. So it has something to go by. In all these matters, it's a rather unique prize. The Future Council members, you can see the picture, very, very distinguished council. I'm privileged to be a part of this team who helped in selected. And the same team will continue next year as well. I'm not going to read out the names, we can see them. Likewise, a very distinguished pre-screening committee. We met some of them when we were in Vietnam this year, and they're very committed and dedicated to the work. And they'll be doing the same thing this year as well. And now, who can nominate? Who can nominate? I mean, of course, you cannot nominate yourself. I think, to maintain a certain amount of objectivity. Nominators can either be organizations, universities represented by deans, presidents, or whoever in the university is designated to do such a thing. It can also be corporations, research centers, any sort of an organization that is committed to scientific innovation, research, and growth. And it can also be prominent individuals who are leaders in the discipline can be nominators as well. Now, they have to fill the online nomination form, which I think the Secretariat will tell you more about it, and it tells you the kind of things that you have to do. And we allow people to nominate up to 4 nominations. The same nominator can. But within a particular category, namely the grand prize or one of the 3 prizes, you can nominate only one. So in other words, you can nominate in all of them or one of them, depending on what you want to do. And really, as we said before, I would say the most important criterion is that it's open to everyone. It's open to any discipline. And so, you don't have to worry about what particular area that they're working on. And the key important thing is that it has to be a new innovation, but that has actually led to significant impact or is potential to have significant impact. And in general, it's preferred to have proven impact, but some of the new emerging fields might take some time. Again, as we said before, we will look at the 17 Sustainable Development Goals as the way of kind of determining what impact means. Solutions have to be already scientifically proven. If they are not in doubt, obviously, they're not quite ready to be nominated. And it should have, a provable result solution that has had an impact. Now, so when we did this last year, it was actually quite a difficult time, as you know, because of the pandemic. Most of the work that was done by the pre-screening committee and the prize council happened online, virtual meetings and things like that. So we were, not sure, in fact, whether there will be an opportunity for us to actually have a prize ceremony and meet all the winners that we worked out to select. And so it was brilliant, actually, that VinFuture Prize was able to organize this event in a very safe environment in January in Hanoi. I was privileged to attend it. It was an amazing event. In addition to the award ceremony itself, VinFuture Prize took the opportunity to have a few symposia associated with the event. There was a symposium that was basically consisting of prize council members and pre-screening committee members, as well as award laureates on various topics, called the Future Science for Life Symposium. There was also a specific kind of dialogue with the prize laureates. So there was one-on-one dialogues with the laureates, the interviews that were conducted. The audience were able to interact with them and ask a lot of questions and be informed. And it continued with all the different members actually. Now the award ceremony itself, I'm going a little fast here. Yeah. So that to recap, these were the laureates, these were the winners of the prizes last year, and how timely, right? We've all gone through this pandemic, and thanks to the great work done by these scientists, Dr. Kariko, Weissman, and Professor Cullis, the mRNA vaccine, this has really saved the world. And I think, today, if we are able to have this conversation and move on, a lot of credit goes to that. So it was really a timely event and a timely prize, naturally, to recognize. In addition, we recognize Professor Zhenan Bao from Stanford as a top female innovator, and Professor Omar Yagi for his work in reticular chemistry as the future emerging field, and Professor the Karim couple from South Africa, as doing innovations related to epidemiology and so on, and they're based in South Africa. So the event was well attended. The Prime Minister of Vietnam actually handed the grand prize to the grand prize winners, and a beautiful, beautiful place in Hanoi Opera House, something that I think everyone, I hope, will have a chance to see. So as a member of the Prize Council, I'm looking forward to doing this again, along with my colleagues, XD, who's there, my dear friend, and Professor Shud in the screening committee. Looking forward to it. Thank you. So.
Thank you, Dr. Anandan, for your sharing. And I hope that you have more information about the prize and also about our laureates for the first season. And next is the time, I think, for us to get familiar with the submission process and also all the requirements that you need to prepare for the nomination. I would like to introduce my colleague, Dr. Ming Yang, to walk you through the most important parts of the submission. Please, Dr. Ming Yang.
Thank you, Jiang. Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to walk you through some of the most important contents of the nomination portal and the nomination form. So you can see now on your screen, first of all, about the nomination portal. Please open online.vinfutureprize.org/nomination to get the access to the nomination form. If you now are sitting in front of your computer, you can also scan the QR code you see on the screen to open the nomination portal webpage. So on this page, you can download the instructions and the endorsement letter template in the instructions. You can find the complete nomination form where you can draft the nomination whenever you want and then copy paste the draft into the online portal. So we have the 7 content tabs at the nomination form, and I would like to call your kind attention to tab number 5 and tab number 7. On tab number 5, you are invited to give your evaluation of the nominee's invention, including scientific fundamental knowledge, uniqueness, and advancement of the invention. The second one is the most significant social economic impacts of the invention, like our chair and co-chairs of the webinar today mentioned many times before. We are very much interested in the impacts of the invention. So you are invited to provide the number of beneficiaries, for example, people, countries, continents, and please address how this invention has transformed or potentially transform everyday lives of millions of people. And the last but not least, please give your information on the history of the invention, as, when, and how the invention started, and who else except the nominees was involved in initiating or contributing to the invention. So these are the key information items of the nominators evaluation of the nominee's invention. On tab number 7, here you are invited to provide supporting documentation and evidence for the nomination. There are several documents that are needed for a nomination, but again, I would very much like to call your attention to only two crucially important documents. Number 1 is the CV of the nominee or of the nominees if you are nominating a group of people. So you can attach CVs of them. The number 2 is the endorsement letter or endorsement letters, because we are asking for one for the mandatory document, and you are encouraged to attach 3. Here you can also provide the endorsement letter as an attachment, or if you want to type the endorsement, you can go back to page number 6, where you can provide 200 words for the endorsement. And if you have the important publications or patents of the nominees, you can provide here. In your nomination process, if you have any technical issues or you have any questions, you are very much welcome to email us at secretariat@vinfutureprize.org. We are always be there for you, and we are very happy to assist you in your nomination process. So please write down the email of the Secretariat, and please contact us and tell us what you need for your nomination process. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Ming Yang. And I think that if you have any further question, you can send to the email secretariat@vinfutureprize.org that Dr. Ming Yang has just shared. But now we have a total parts of the Q&A section for you to ask some questions that you want to know more about the prize, the foundation, or the nomination process. Anything you can ask us right now. And during the time waiting for the Q&A and the question in the chat box, I have already had some questions before the webinar that I would like to ask our panelists. The first question I would like to ask Dr. Sui Dong Huang, if anybody has several technologies, then how he can be nominated? Like title, for example, so he will get only one technology for a nomination, or he can take all the technologies for one nominations.
I do not think there's really one answer. If you invented a technology that impacted the whole world, you have multiple ones, definitely you can include all of them. But if you have one innovation and scientific discovery is so foundational, that's much bigger than everything else. And all the prominent scientists, they make a contribution for a lot of things, but most of them could be known for one big one. So really, it's I would say focus on the impact. Usually, the impact is one thing. You cannot connect the two impacts that are orthogonal. They could be exceptional organization or people. They can just make innovation in many dimensions, many fields. That's unusual, but I would say focus on the impact, and usually is one specific technology or discovery. But I don't think we should exclude if you have combined the innovation that could have compounding impact, so be it.
Thank you, Dr. Sui Dong Huang. And I just seen someone who just raised their hand. Can we have the question from our audience who just raised their hand?
Yeah.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Sure.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So one of the categories, one of the prize categories was a prize for somebody from a developing country. How do we define the developing country?
Sorry, Professor Hulett. Did you ask about the category of the developing countries? You
Yes,
mean that?
exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So, Ming Yang, can you ask the question?
So for this question, anyone in the panelists would like to answer the question regarding the developing country?
I can, because I went through this whole process, and then can just, and probably add to his comments. We do have the United Nations designated the developing country list, but we also made a small number of revision. So VinFuture Foundation published the revised list of developing countries. So that is my understanding through that process.
So I guess one question for the Secretariat is if we should make that list available to the nominators.
The United Nations got the list of developing country. You can just search on the website, but we took a few developed the developing countries out. So that, I think that it was the process.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Please, if you have questions, please unmute yourself and ask questions directly to the pre-screening committee and the prize council. When awaiting questions coming in, we got some questions at the chat box, and we have very interesting question. Which documentation should be produced to support a nomination? What is the anticipated time commitment? I would like to invite Professor Altashut to address this question. I'm repeating the question. Which documentation should be produced to support a nomination? And what is the time, the anticipated time commitment?
Yes, thank you. I think that was also well covered in the previous presentation, but it's important to have the CV of the nominees and at least one endorsement letter. I think if it's more than one, it's definitely to the advantage of the nomination to have as much detail as possible to avoid the screening committee to do its own research, but that everything is there very clear and comprehensive. And therefore, it's often quite a substantial time commitment that's required to do a really excellent job in putting the best case forward for review. So it depends on what you already have available, but I think quite a few hours to really do that well.
Awesome, thank you very much. We have a very interesting question. The question is, do the innovations have to be recent, or can someone who developed an invention a few decades ago also be eligible? I would like to invite our chair, Dr. Anandan, to address this question, please.
Yeah, they don't have to be recent. In fact, in many cases, to have the kind of impact that we are talking about does take some amount of time, perhaps decades. So in fact, they don't have to be recent. In fact, we often start with the impact and then work backwards to the innovation. So yeah, there's no particular time limit.
Thank you very much for that confirmation. We have another question. Are nominators' identity kept secret? Can they contact nominees to gather information for the nomination? Again, I would like to invite Professor Altashut to address this question, please.
To my understanding, you can indeed make contact with the nominee to make sure that the information that is presented is as detailed and comprehensive as possible. So that is a transparent process. The person just cannot nominate themselves.
Right, thank you very much. We had another question coming in. What are the priority areas for nomination in 2022? This is very special question. What are the priority areas for nominations in 2022? I would like to invite all the chair and the co-chairs to address this very important question. Please,
So
first of all, yes.
I would say there is as such no priority area. I think, whatever area, looks to have whatever the impact is again, what we talked about, it doesn't even have to be one area, it can be multidisciplinary. In many ways, that's even better. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Sodong, yes.
I agree with what Anand said, and I think the impact is really the most important one. You can work on any areas, whether it's medicine, artificial intelligence, unbiased, unfounded stuff. So, and we know the impact, from all fields are considered. So you should be free and, search for individual organizations that are having profound impact to the society that would actually impact millions of people. So the grand prize we announced last year will set the baseline and the benchmark.
Thank you. Professor Antashut, please.
Yes, I think the emphasis has been clear on impact, and that is probably what distinguished this prize a lot from several other high-level prizes, is that's true focus on impact. So as was said by Dr. Anand, is we started looking at the impact and then almost go backwards. So there's several scoring mechanisms for that. So as it was said, what in a country, how many people, a continent, etc. So that would be a very good starting place in preparing the nomination.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your answers. I think that if we pay attention to the mission of the VinFuture Prize, we can see clearly we have on our website the motto of Science for Humanity, which means every technology or invention or innovation that is nominated for the VinFuture Prize should have an impact on millions, if not billions of people. So we have heard from our pre-screening committee members and the prize council members mentioning the impact of the invention or the research or the project, and that should be kept in mind for our job as nominators. Thank you very much for addressing this question. We have one more question. Does VinFuture Prize exclude the scientific inventions that already received internationally recognized prizes? Dr. Anandan, could you please address this?
I don't believe so. I'll ask the Secretariat to confirm. In fact, in some senses, having other recognitions do in some ways promote the innovation as a candidate. So we don't have any kind of blanket policy as such that they should not have received any other prizes. I guess they should not have received a previous VinFuture prize. That would be, that's all. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have a very interesting question as well. Can a nominator from a developed country nominate colleagues from developing countries, or the other way around? Dr. Sudong Huang, could you please address the question? Can a nominator from developed country nominate colleagues from a developing country, or the other way around?
Yeah, I think as long as you are not nominating yourself and not nominating your mom or dad, I think it's fine. You can nominate your colleague, and but not yourself.
Thank you very much for that. So you can see that our prize council members and the pre-screening committee are very down-to-earth people. They understand the situations, and they are real people that are doing the real job. So please nominate people, and you are in very good hands of our pre-screening committee and the prize council. Okay. There is a more request than a question. Can you share the presentation of Dr. Anandan? So that one I need to ask Dr. Anandan. Can we share the presentation? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Could you please drop us an email so that we know where to send the presentation of Dr. Anandan to you? Thank you.
Yes, I will. Yeah. Yes, I will. Yeah, I will.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Or can I ask a question also?
Please.
Yeah, in some cases, because the time now is very short to look on all those nominees. No, I'm thinking of coming up with a webinars, something like this, and maybe I can invite Dr. Anadan or yourself to present, and I can invite several universities and personalities, no? So that really they understand. I think that's very much easier to do it, no? Rather than the time to get nominees. So if we can have a presentation, then we have more the people who are looking for this nominee will be much better. Will it be possible? I can invite any one of the panelists right now to join us in a webinar here in the Philippines.
Thank you, Dr. Anadan. Please, could you please address the request?
Yeah, I'm happy to be available. I'll work with the VinFuture Prize on how to go about doing that. No problem.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, I send a formal email to the host.
Right.
Thank you.
Please, please indicate your request in the email, and we will try our best to serve you. And we will be very happy to provide support as needed. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. I think that we have enough questions for today. If you have more questions, please email us to secretariat@vinfutureprize.org. We will be very much happy to address your questions or individually assist you in your nomination submission process. We are looking very much forward to your valuable nominations. You have questions, please let us know. Thank you. I'm passing the stage to Chan.
Thank you, Dr. Ming Yang, and thank you, the Secretariat. We hope that attending the session today, you will have all the questions that you want to ask, and we have addressed some of the questions that you want to ask us. And if you have any other question, don't be hesitate. Please send us the email through secretariat@vinfutureprize.org. And we hope that you can get ready to submit your nominations before May 17th. And now we really would like to express our thank you for attending the webinar today. And we would love to take a group photo with all of you, all the audience who join us today. Is it possible? And is it okay for all of you? So please kindly turn on your camera, and we can have the picture together. I believe that after the ceremony award, maybe some of the people here will have the nomination who win, maybe, and we will really remember the day that we start from nothing, right? From just the information about the prize, about the foundation. Okay, so we have all people here turning on the camera. Can we have the group picture right now? 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you very much for your attending and for your participation for today. Thank you, and for now, goodbye and see you again.
Have a good one.
Have
Bye-bye.
a good day.
Have a good one.
Have a good day.
Thank you,
Have a good day.
Thank you, audience.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.